Now in its 10th year, this is Gabnet. Talk like you've never heard it before.
Let me sing. Oh, yes, live from Harlem in New York City. Guess who this is? This is Alex, and this is the Ramble. Ladies and gentlemen, his name is Larry Bubbles Brown. He lives in San Francisco, California, a town that whenever I see it on television, I look over at Marjorie and I go, oh, I love that city. There is just something about San Francisco that is so special. And have you lost it because of all these problems in San Francisco?
Well, it's one bad thing after another. They just, the Great Highway is now no longer a highway. They closed it.
Why?
They've turned it into a park. Which
What?
no one's using. Yeah, so the people keep trying to get out of the city, and that end apparently is a nightmare. And
No.
the Great Highway is no more.
Where was the Great Highway? I don't remember.
From the cliff, we run from the Cliff House down to Pacifica.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I always thought of it as a street, but if you want to call it a Great Highway, go right ahead.
Yeah.
So what happened? I mean, what did they decide? People use that road.
They do, and the people are furious about it that live out there. So.
Wow. Why? And they closed it down. Why?
To make that area a park, which it's freezing and nobody hangs out there anyway.
Why would you make a park out
I know.
by, I mean, and why would you move a road or do away with a road because you're making a park?
Crazy.
You make the park next to the road, don't you?
Uh-huh. There was room for both.
That's insane. And it's not because people are, just living in the past and enjoying the revelry of, remember the Great Highway? It had a purpose. People used it. Or didn't they use it? Maybe that was the problem.
No, they did use it, and it's...
And nobody tried to stop that?
The people that lived out there did. They voted on it. The whole city voted, yeah, let's do that. And the people that live in that area just hate it because now they have to get out. They go down 48th Avenue, which was just a residential street, and now it's just clogged with traffic.
Oh, my God. But didn't somebody think about this ahead of time?
You would think so, yeah.
That's amazing. That's just amazing. Oh, boy. Well, anyway, so I look at San Francisco and I go, oh, I love it. I just see they show some of the houses, and I go, oh, that's terrific. Has San Francisco itself undergone problems that created change?
I think it's just all the other stuff that all the big cities have. You got a ton of homeless people and crime.
Oh, boy. So, and the mayor does nothing about it, right?
Well, we got a new mayor, but since I guess he won in November, I have not heard a word from him, so I don't know what's going on with him.
Is he a Democrat?
Oh, yeah, you couldn't get a Republican here.
Yeah, Republican would never get elected in San Francisco.
Who was the last Republican mayor of San Francisco?
What? You'd have to go back to when I was born, I think. I can't remember who the mayors were at that time.
Yeah. I just remember there was a guy named Alioto who was a Democrat, and I think he was a good guy.
Yeah, I knew his daughter.
Angela.
They had a thing called, they had a food restaurant down on Fisherman's Wharf called Alioto's. Mm-hmm. And I was good friends with Angela. And I was one time down at Fisherman's Wharf, and I said, oh, let's go to dinner. Where are we going to go? Oh, let's try Alioto's. I've never, it's always been there for centuries. I don't know, Let's go there. So we went into Alioto's, and it was the worst dinner I've ever had in my life. And
I didn't think Italian food could be bad.
So I was Italian seafood, no less. You know, in San Francisco, it's usually crab. That's a big deal. And I ordered the crab, and they were just these wimpy little crabs. You know, I could pick better ones out of my pubic hairs.
Jesus.
You know. So the next time I had Angela on, I said, by the way, I went to eat at Alioto's. And she says, oh, how'd you like it? I said, it was terrible. And she was so offended by that. She started defending it. No, that's a great restaurant. It's my family's restaurant, you know. And I had to tell her it was horrible. She says, well, I'll send you back there and they'll give you a good meal, you know. So I never took her up on it.
And her father was, who did he sued a magazine that I think claimed he was in the mafia or had connections.
Well, he was the mayor of San Francisco.
Right.
Yeah.
And
What was his first name?
Joe.
Joe Alioto. Okay.
But a good mayor, as I recall.
Pretty damn good mayor. Yeah. And then, of course, we had, what's her name?
We had London Breed.
Yeah, but I mean, we had, who was the one that became a senator?
Feinstein.
Feinstein. She became mayor because she
became mayor because they shot everyone else.
Yeah, well, they shot.
In front of her.
Yeah, who was mayor that got shot?
Moscone.
Moscone, and she was the vice mayor?
She was on the city council, so I think maybe because remember they also shot Harvey Milk, and who was on the council. So I think she was just next in line.
There was no such thing as a vice mayor? I guess not.
No.
Yeah, so the head of the city council probably takes the post, and that's how she became mayor of San Francisco. Mm-hmm. And then she voted for gun control when she got into the Senate, and they said, "Why are you for gun control? If it weren't for guns, you wouldn't be a senator."
Yeah.
That was a joke.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. But she did okay as a senator. She just lasted too long. She
got totally senile, and she was in there forever. Right?
Yeah, well, what you have to imagine is as you get older, like for instance, I have serious brain damage. Now, you could say, "What did you hit your head or something?" No, I'm old. And what happens is you lose your memory, you lose your certain abilities, you're not as spry as you were or as verbose as you were. And that's a form of brain damage. And all these
I guess it is, yeah.
And if you think about it, how many people in Congress are seriously brain damaged?
Yeah, they're all as old as we are. Christ.
Yeah, or the older. I mean, these guys sit there and they go till they're 90, and you go, don't you ever want to give up? Don't you ever want to go home and just kind of put your feet up on the divan and say, "Hey, life's good. I had a good life, and now I'm gonna retire, and I'm gonna have a good time with that." No, they just keep
money.
Huh?
Haven't they stolen enough money? They can just enjoy it now.
Well, they have to steal it because they don't make it as a senator or a congressman.
Yeah, when you look at like Mitch McConnell just freezing up on TV every other week, maybe it's time to retire.
Well, I mean, he froze up, and I understand it, okay? Because sometimes I just lose it. It goes, you know? It's never happened with you and me because you keep me interested when I'm talking.
Yeah.
But, you know, I black out a little bit, you know? Sometimes I'll sit here and I'll go, okay, I want to make this work and get that up. How do I do that? I forgot how I do that. And it's something I do every day. And then when I just calm down and allow myself to think it through, I do it. But these people in Congress, hey, some are my age. Mm-hmm. I mean, Chuck Schumer is like almost 80.
Yeah.
You know? And my feeling about Schumer, if you're listening, Chuck, to begin with, I think your niece is a good comic, but the other thing is, Chuck, just shut the fuck up now. Let somebody else talk for the party. you know,
Right.
because you're just getting boring. You know, and it happens to all of us. You know,
It does.
I'll tell you that you might find this impossible to believe. I have a friend, his name is Walter Sabo, and he does a radio show nationally on Sunday nights. And he has asked me on a couple of occasions to go in and do his show. So I go in and do it. And it's a 4-hour show, I think,
Ugh.
or a 3-hour show, maybe. And he got a hold of me the last time, and he said, "Would you do it?" And I said, "Yeah, sure." And then I thought about it, and I went, Sunday nights, I have to go in at 9 o'clock and do it until midnight. Can I do that anymore? And my answer to myself was, no. So I wrote him and said, I'm not going to do it because blah, 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 and I don't think I can fill 3 hours of programming now. And he accepted my refusal, but it was the first time I suddenly realized I can't do what I used to do.
Wow, that's sad.
Well, it's not sad. You know, I can still do an hour and a half every night, you know, when I asked to. When I have to on Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays. This show goes on. Your interviews usually go on Friday. First half hour is something like this, pre-recorded, but I had to do it anyway. And then the other hour is talking to the people, and that I can get through okay. You know, I can do an hour. But to do 3 hours, 4 hours, you know, and when I think about it, you know, there was a time where if I went into the studio and none of the equipment was working right or whatever, and all I could do, or the phones were down, or nobody showed up or something, I could talk for 4 hours and keep it going. I'd probably have you in there and we'd be bumping off, you know, playing off of each other and so on, be playing off of Lori, you know. Mm-hmm. But the problem is that I couldn't do that anymore. I couldn't just keep talking for 4 hours. I once bragged that I could, you know. So, I mean, you lose your abilities as you get older, and you have to then adapt your life to lacking certain of those abilities and working around them and so on. So,
Well, I find myself, like, I've always had trouble remembering names, and then do you misplace things?
Not really, no. But it's interesting you say you have a hard time remembering names.
Yeah.
Okay? Which, when you said that, I said, Larry Bubbles Brown can't remember names?
Never good at it. Now just horrible.
Because
yeah.
I can say to you, when did I start working in San Francisco? Do you know?
Numbers are one thing. Names are different.
It's funny. When I was doing my little thing called Life in the Passing Lane, which was the story of my whole life. And when I got to this whole San Francisco part of it, occasionally I'd call Larry and ask him, when did I do this? When did I do that? Mm-hmm. Because many times I can't remember when I did that. Okay? You remember all of it.
A lot of it, yeah.
You remember, what was the first date that you were on my show?
It was a second Friday of January of '83, so that would have been so it would have been the 14th.
14th of 1983. See, he can come up with that, but you can't come up with names.
No.
Wow, that is.
I think I was on with Stephen Pearl.
Well, those kind of things you remember too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's amazing. I find that totally amazing that you
really?
can do that. Yeah. Because many times I have a hard time remembering what was the decade I worked in San Francisco, and then I have to go, 1980 to about 92, 93. When did I stop doing CNET?
03.
03, yeah. 2003, okay. So it was, wait a minute, 03? I don't think so. I was in San Francisco from 1980 God, now I can't remember when I left San Francisco.
Yeah, when did you go to New York?
I came to New York in, oh God, I got here. Well, I got here after 9/11. I was here, God, when did I come here? No, I came here in 2003, I think.
Right after, yeah, after seeing that.
Yeah, 2003. So then we go back and oh yeah, okay. So I came to San Francisco in about 80. In 92, I left Live 105, right?
89.
89 was it?
89 is when they let you go, and then you stayed here for a while. Then 90, you went to Miami.
Yeah, but then I came back.
You came back. You weren't in Miami very long.
I got rehired.
Right.
And I think I lasted till about 92, right?
You lasted till 97.
Till 97?
Uh-huh.
Oh, okay. All right.
Those are the great years, the 91 and the 97.
Really? And then, but I worked before that. I started at...
You were there at, let's see, you came to Live 105 Kids in February of 86.
See? A lot of these numbers I have a hard time remembering. But I went there in 86, yeah. And then
you were on the Quake before then you had I think you had close to a year off before Live 105 after the Quake.
After the Quake, yeah. It wasn't a year. I think it was about 6 months. Something like that.
Yeah.
But the fact is that I have a hard time remembering those dates exactly, but I do remember I came here in 2003. That's when I came to New York.
Right.
And I got my job at Sirius XM in 2004, and that went until 2013. That I guess that's the last time I really had a regular radio job.
And did they let you go, or what was going on?
They let me go in, I think it was 2013, something like that.
And that was because of your age?
I don't know. I never could figure it out. They never gave me a reason. You'd like to know when you get fired why you're being fired.
Yeah.
Then you can say, okay, well, I wasn't very good at that, or I should have done this instead of that, or whatever. But no, it was like, we're letting you go. Well, why? Well, and then the answer was, here's the answer. It was nothing you did. And I went, oh, that's interesting. It's nothing I did? Oh, okay. Then why am I being fired?
Were you costing them too much money?
Well, who knows? There are a couple of thoughts, okay, of why I got fired. One was that it was a money thing. I was making, maybe $11,000 a year, okay, when they fired me. And my producer was the highest paid producer in the building. He was making, I think, probably somewhere around 75. So they figured they could get along cheaper if they just got somebody else in there.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't even give me the ability to say, okay, well, I'll take less or something like that, But I mean, we never could figure out why they let me go. The other, I suspect, might have had something to do with the Democratic Party people who didn't like the fact that I was critical of Obama. And I say in retrospect, how could you be critical of Obama? But he was doing stuff that wasn't good too, and I was calling him on it. And they didn't like that. It was a left-wing radio station. I was a left-winger, and I had to be pro-Obama on everything.
Everything, yeah.
And no president is perfect on everything. No. And so that could have been the reason. I don't know. My age could have been the other. I think it was my age, in fact, because when I was let go, they gave me a severance package, okay, of like 16 weeks salary, something like that. And they said, sign here. You've got to sign this before we can give you the severance. And I said, what's this? And they said, oh, it's just a agreement that you agree not to sue us for age discrimination.
Oh, wow, that's huge.
And I said, but you didn't ask Albert, my producer, to sign the same thing. And they said, well, yeah. And I said, that's age discrimination.
Yeah.
You know, making me sign something that says I won't sue you for age discrimination. That's age discrimination. You didn't ask Albert to do it because you don't figure he's going to ever sue you for age discrimination. But you're making a decision based on my age. They went, well, if you don't sign it, you don't get the severance. So I figured I'd sign it. If I ever wanted to sue them, I could say I did it under duress and the whole thing would get thrown out in court, you know. But I think it might have been age. That might have had something to do with it, you know. So what the hell? You know, that's life. My life's been pretty good since.
Maybe Stern didn't want you around.
I don't think that was it. I think Stern was... Stern certainly wasn't in my corner, but I don't think he was against me particularly, you know.
Okay.
So I don't think that is a reason, you know. Although I did ask Stern when they were letting me go, could I get a job working on his channel? He had this channel at Sirius, and he had some other people doing shows on his channel, and they turned me down. So, you know. Was it Howard? No, I doubt it was Howard, but Howard could have helped me, okay, and he didn't. And you know, he got his act from me. I deserved it.
Yeah.
All right. So how's your life going? Come on, let's talk about you, not about me. We only got like
Your life's more interesting, Christ.
My life right now is completely boring. I have nothing to talk about my life presently, you know, except maybe the ache and pain I got yesterday.
Well, you sound healthy.
Well, you've had a good life. Think of all the things you've done. Think of all the places you've been because of your profession, you know? Wouldn't you say it was a pretty good life for you?
Oh, yeah. I think the thing about being a stand-up comic, you have a lot of freedom. So.
Well, you have a freedom that most people don't have. You can make your own hours.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
you
that's
know,
huge.
You can decide whether you want to take a gig or not, depending upon, well, hey, I don't want to go all the way to Miami.
So it has been, I grouse a lot, but I think, I'm pretty happy the way it ended up.
Would you counsel somebody to become a comic that's a good job to have? Or do you think it's a rotten job to have?
I just think it's like anything in the entertainment is just so competitive. It's very hard to make money. So I would just warn people, if you want to try it, go after it.
Well, it is very competitive, but if you work at it, you can probably be better than competitive, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, I think it weeds out the people who really don't want the job. Let me put it that way. Because in the beginning, it's a struggle. But even the struggle was enjoyable too, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. It was fun when you're being an open mic. It was just kind of exciting, and that was fun.
And then finally somebody hires you as a opening act, like at the Punchline, you're thrilled.
Yeah, and even when you get older, you're just like, anytime someone offers you work, it's a good feeling.
Yeah. I mean, I've often said that the most insecure people I've ever interviewed have been actors because they don't know if they're going to get another job. And
incredibly insecure.
I often talk about Patrick Stewart, who I was interviewing, and I said, well, whenever you're back in New York, please come by and let's do the show again. And he said to me, well, if anybody hires me again to do anything, I got a plug. Mm-hmm. I said, Patrick Stewart is wondering if he's going to get another job.
Yeah, wow.
So that's the kind of insecurity. I had a good friend who was an actor, a character actor. And I said, "What's the worst part about your profession?" He says, "Every time you sign out of a film, you have to sign a release or whatever. And you don't know when you're signing that if that isn't going to be the last job you're ever going to have."
Jeez.
And I said, "That's a great life to live."
Wow.
But, I took a job that for a while, at least I had every morning, But it was an insecure job, too, And if I had it to do all over again, I'd do it all over again. There are just certain mistakes I wouldn't make,
Mm-hmm.
But you don't get the chance to do it over again, so you have to be satisfied with the way it turned out. I'm pretty satisfied. I could yell and scream, but I've met a lot of famous people. I've been in a lot of interesting situations, It's been a nice little adventure. So, fact that
Yeah, we can't complain.
we can't
It's been
complain, exactly. Hey, listen, Larry, good talking to you. I so appreciate this. This is number 364.
great.
I'm going to start counting them. 364 times he and I have done one of these things. And you're the best, Larry. I just really appreciate it no end. Thank you.
Thank you, yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, Larry Bubbles Brown.
See you
Now
soon.
in its 10th year, this is Gabnet. Now in its 10th year, this is Gabnet. Talk like you've never heard it before.
Wasn't that fun? Okay. I hit the wrong button. See? I hit this button.
Now in its 10th year, this is Gabnet.
Okay, well, anyway, I push wrong buttons. I do all kinds of things. It's getting to the point where I'm beginning to wonder whether I can do this any longer. I just, I'm sorry if I'm saying what I've been saying before, but it just, it kind of gets to me after a while. I'd like to be able to feel that I'm, up to par with everything. Well, there are just two people waiting to come on here. So why don't I just bring them on right now? And let me see here. There's Charlie and Josh Wheeler. Got to admit, Josh. Okay, let's see here. We just admitted Josh. There we go. Okay, so there are three of us. That's it.
Well, it's early.
It's early. Is it? No, it's not. People should be waiting like this, The Monday show, all the people are waiting before I even go on, And here I got to sit here and wait. No, maybe by the end of the show I might have 5 people, so. Hello, Josh.
Hello.
How you doing?
I'm good, thank you. How you doing?
And how's your week been?
About pretty average, I guess.
Pretty average, nothing exciting, nothing dramatic.
No, nothing out of the ordinary.
Yeah. And Charlie, how's your week been?
Actually, it was a very good week.
What do you mean it was a very good week? What happened this week? Did somebody give you $1 million? What?
No, not quite, but almost. No, it was. We've been negotiating with the city of Austin since Thanksgiving on our new contract. Is supposed to last for the next 5 years, and we finally got it signed on Thursday, yesterday.
So now, are you going to get more money?
Yeah, we got more money. We got a what was it, a 10% raise? Yeah.
Okay, is that good? Does that help?
It helps a lot.
Yeah, because considering you make $100,000 a year, that's another $10,000 a year.
Oh Lord.
Nice to hear that. Hello, Tom Yamaguchi. How are you?
Hello, and happy Pi Day to Charles Wallace.
It's
The birthday boy's T-shirt.
Oh, is that Einstein?
Yep.
And is it his birthday today?
Yep.
Didn't know that.
Okay.
March 14th, 1879.
Wow.
Another thing, Alex, that you don't know when you're talking to Larry Bubbles Brown is you don't very know much about San Francisco politics or government, because San Francisco does not have a city council. They
What?
have a they don't have a city council. They have a board of supervisors.
You're right. You're right.
Because San Francisco is both a city and a county. And Dianne Feinstein was the president of the board of supervisors, and that's why she was the one that came in as the acting mayor when Moscone was killed.
Oh, okay. All right.
All right.
I stand corrected. I did not. I remember it now. I remember that they always had, like when they had elections, it was board of supervisors. You know.
Right.
So
Yeah.
that was the reason why, huh?
Yep.
Yeah. Jeffrey, you there?
Oh, I'm here, but I got no face.
You have no picture.
That's right.
Well, why don't you go down to where it says a video and turn it on? Jeff?
All right, I'm gonna work on it.
Down on the bottom of your browser, there should be a thing that says audio, and next to it, video.
Okay.
Click that on. We'll be here in about another.
Alex is texting
Just
for it.
everybody go out and enjoy yourselves. Come back in 45 minutes. We'll have this
All right.
solved. There it is.
Okay, there he is.
There he is.
Did it.
Yeah. Wow.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
I'm gonna usual on play.
And he's doing his video today from a helicopter. That's very nice. You know.
In my bedroom.
Hmm.
I'm in my bedroom.
You're in your bedroom. Well, it's not your bedroom. It's somebody else's bedroom that
Well,
you're
that's right.
renting.
It's a rental.
Yeah. Now adjust your camera.
There you go.
Right.
You're getting there. You're almost there. You're almost there.
How's that? No.
No. Here, what you do? Do you have a laptop? Is that what you're using?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Just take the lid and I think move it forward.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Move it forward. Take the lid of the laptop and just move it forward a little bit.
Yeah.
See? No. Other
Nope,
way.
wrong
Other
way.
way. Other way. Other way. Then do it back.
Problem is, the table here is on an angle.
Well, it doesn't matter if it's at an angle. Let's get your face in there. I don't want to feel like I'm talking to Kilroy.
Yeah.
Okay.
There you go.
There we go. See, that's the way you
There.
do it. That's the way you do it. God, and I don't even own a laptop, and I knew that. So, but anyway, so how's everything out in San Francisco, or actually Oakland, or where are you?
Berkeley.
You're in Berkeley,
West Berkeley.
West Berkeley.
West Berkeley. Yeah. Yeah. We had some rain. It was nice.
Mm-hmm.
Came home, went through a bunch of junk mail, and found a letter from Chuck Schumer
Mm-hmm.
saying, asking for money. And so I wrote on it that for caving in to Musk and Trump, he needs to be replaced. And I'm going to put
Very
that in the
good.
context
Bravo.
back.
Bravo.
So
Bravo.
yeah. So I mean, what happened today was just shameful. Really shameful. You know,
Wait.
I mean,
You know, it's gutless. I see the reasoning behind it for a second.
I don't see
Well,
the reason. There is no reasoning.
Let me
behind it.
explain to you what his thinking probably is.
I understand.
If we don't do this and it doesn't go through because the Democrats refuse to give in, all right, then
No.
we're going to look like we're the bad guys. But
No.
the only thing is he's going to look like a bad guy to me and to you and to Charlie and to
They're
Josh.
taking polls. They're taking polls, and they know that the Democrats aren't responsible for the shutdown.
Yeah.
The
Mhm.
Democrats are not responsible for any shutdown. The Republicans are in complete control.
Yep.
They're the ones that would shut down the government through this bad.
Well,
this
also,
bad-
how can you have a majority and say that it's the Democrats' fault because the Democrats won't go in with the Republicans? I'm sorry, that's not the name of the game. You know. So anyway, well, you know what it is though. We just kick the can down the road another 6 months. You know, we've never ever said, "Hey, let's get a budget and let's okay this for the next 2-3 years," something like that. You know. So that makes no sense to me. But I agree with you. Chuck Schumer's a piece of crap.
Yeah.
You know,
Go.
I mean, it.
Needs to go.
Hmm?
Needs to go.
Yeah, yeah. What do you think, Josh?
I don't think they should have done what they did. I don't personally understand it. I think that if the idea in their head or his head was that Democrats would get blamed and be seen as the people who are responsible for it and the bad guy, I'm not quite sure why they would be worried about that because the news flash to them should be that Americans already blamed them and thinks they were the bad guy if they hadn't noticed, losses in the November election,
Yeah.
you know?
Mm-hmm.
So, uh, I'm just saying if that's the case, you know, what's the point of trying to worry about it? You're already in that corner. So if you're going to be in that corner, why don't you actually try to, work it to your advantage? I mean, if you don't, if, and I'm not saying this is necessarily all true, but I mean, I'm just saying if it is that's the case, and they, feel that they're blamed and all that, then sometimes when you're up against it, the best thing to do is just all out attack, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's this old Civil War story that, said, there was a Confederate general losing a battle and really bad and his men yelled out, General, they've got us surrounded. They're coming at us from all sides. And he said, charge them both ways. In other words, he just said, everybody just attack,
Yeah, yeah.
fight back, I mean, don't, what, we're not going to give up here. So I don't, I don't quite understand what that was about. If his logic that if the government shut down, that the president and his bro there would get all kinds of power to decide who was necessary and not necessary, and it would give him immense powers, and he would cut all these government agencies, and they might never come back, and all that, and he's protecting that. I don't know why. Then I say, then let it happen, okay? Because the people would not be able to live without these vital agencies. No matter how many of them have it in their mind that they would be able to,
Mm-hmm.
they would find out that they couldn't. And they should, good, then I say let that happen and let people see what a disaster that way of thinking, that ideology will lead to.
Mm-hmm.
The Democrats have it in their brain somehow, and I don't know how, that there's a way out of all this mess and back to power with like no pain and suffering that's going to happen for anybody, right? Like let's fight Trump and get back in power, but heaven forbid anybody have to suffer on the way back to that. Well,
Well, if I've got
that's
this,
not
if,
going to
if
happen.
I've got this correct, they couldn't pass that without having Democrats on their side. They needed 60%,
Correct.
I think.
Yes. Yes.
And by the way, part of this thing is that they don't have to have 60% from here on in. They only have to have 50%. But they had to have 60%. So really,
Yes.
you
Per
could
their
say to
rules.
the Republicans, we will do it if you change this.
Yes,
Okay?
well, you
We
need
had that demand.
you,
We had that demand. We told them to fire Musk. Fire
Yeah.
Musk. Yeah, no vote till if you fire Musk.
they should name.
Get rid of that silly DOGE. Get rid
Oh,
of it.
I don't want to see him fire Musk. I want to see his stock go lower and lower than it is already.
Yeah, so
Yeah, I don't.
keep turning the White House into a Tesla dealership.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah.
I don't know what giving this away they think did for them. I don't. I mean,
Yeah.
again, they've just got it in their mind that they're saving people from pain and suffering. But I'm just telling you that
No, they're just
that
trying to
is the
save their
only thing
skin.
that's going to teach people a lesson. Okay,
No,
Uh-huh.
they're trying to save their skins. Look at the senators that caved. They were just about all in the swing states, and were afraid about their reelections. One big exception, was John Ossoff in Georgia. And when he actually wrote and says, "I'm voting no," I went on to his website. I'm giving him a small donation every month. I think we really need to do is support those Democrats that stood up, and just say, if you cave in on things like this, I'm not going to support you.
Yep.
That's
Right.
what we need to do.
Well,
not.
I
I'm
think
not. I'm
yeah.
just.
Well, I know
I'm
what
just
you're
not
saying.
following their.
It's like, that's what I'm saying.
I'm just not following their logic, and they don't learn very well.
Well, they're
I'm just
scared.
saying that
They're scared.
Trump constantly bullies people, and he constantly bullies them into his way or the highway, and they have just never learned what I apparently learned as a child, which is as soon as you punch a bully in the mouth, they don't know what to do. You
Yep.
know, I never had any trouble when I was a kid because I never took any shit. And I did get in some trouble when I was young for fighting. And then word got out that you can't screw around with me, and I never had any trouble after that. You
Yep.
see what I'm saying? I mean,
Hmm.
but the Democrats just they just I don't know what they think if they hit back at Trump, they're going to look like the bad guy or whatever. It's like you already look like clowns. I
well,
mean,
it
you
kind of
know,
seems to me that the Democrats are the wimps we believe they were.
yes, they are.
Well, not all of them.
Well, not all of them.
Unfortunately, just enough of them that we got this horrible deal, you know. So
Yeah,
that's why I said we need to. There are a lot of good ones out there. I mean,
I
Mercy,
think I think
Connecticut, Jamie Raskin, as I said, John Ossoff. My two senators voted no.
those are senators, but I think that so far as the Congress is concerned, and the House of Representatives is concerned, I think I listen to Ocasio-Cortez.
Yeah.
She's got the pulse of the younger voter, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
and she doesn't take crap from anybody.
No.
And I think she actually came out and told Schumer he was full of crap for this,
Right.
you know.
That's right.
And she doesn't care. She can come back to New York, and we love her here. You know, her district loves her and will constantly put her back in office, you know, till she decides to run for senator, and then she'll beat the ass off of everybody doing that,
Yeah.
you know. So,
I mean, Schumer's. I just. The Democrats need to. I've been saying this for weeks. You know, I mean, they need to change their leadership and their line of thinking, and they need to go on offense. I don't
Schumer,
understand
yeah.
why they cannot get
Mm-hmm.
that when the defensive plan is constantly losing, it's been losing for years, they need to find a new tactic.
Well,
You
I
know,
mean, the fact
mean,
is, there
I
was a
don't get it.
time when Schumer was valuable, okay? But he's
Perhaps.
outlived his you know,
Yes,
worth.
I know.
And quite frankly, when he runs for senator again, I'll vote for the Republican before I'll vote for him.
And
Well,
they
this is why we need ranked choice voting.
Yes.
Good,
This is
good.
Yeah, Charlie
Yeah.
agrees. Right choice voting, because we don't have to hold our nose and vote for somebody. So, well, it's either him or the Republican. No, that shouldn't have to be the choice.
But we don't have ranked choice voting in New York,
that's why you need it.
so I have to. Well, you know,
That's why you need it.
maybe I have 15 years of life left, and I'll live to be 100, or I may not live another year. Who knows? But I know that I'm not living long enough that I'm going to do anything else but not vote for Schumer.
I mean, Democrats, I think they also need to find some voices and some strong leaders who are from states not named New York and California.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with a lot of their people from New York and
Yeah.
California. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying they've got to get people involved from states other than that. They don't have any good candidates or representation or strong voices in the middle of the country and in the heartland of the country or in the South. You know what I'm saying? They have to start building that team.
I kept talking about, Kamala Harris, that where she was making a big mistake was she wasn't going to visit those parts of the country. She almost totally avoided those parts of the country, and that's where she should have been. She didn't need to be in New York. She didn't need to be in, California.
Well, she was in Pennsylvania. No, she was in a lot of those places. She was
No,
in
but she didn't go down. She didn't go down to butt-fucked Alabama. Okay,
Well, I mean, even Obama didn't go campaign in Alabama. I mean,
Well,
you definitely go.
well, he didn't want to go
basically
down
what
there
you need
because
to
he was
do is-
he was afraid of getting lynched.
Well,
You
I
know,
think in
But
'08,
I
I
mean,
think in '08 that Obama's campaign under Howard Dean, employed a 50 state
Yeah,
strategy.
50 states.
I think that it was, I mean, they, that it was good. I mean, they need to go talk to those people. I mean, they need to get people from this part of the country and Wisconsin and Iowa and, other places, even if they can't win it there. I mean, the- you know, look what they did here in Ohio. I mean, they more or less abandoned Sherrod Brown.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't, I didn't get that. I mean, I still don't get it. I don't think he gets it, because he's still hanging around here in Ohio talking about what he wants to do. And I read about him here and there. And I mean, one of the more decent middle of the road Democrats that could help lead them somewhere. I don't think he was going to run for president or anything like that. He's not really that type, to get that sort of vibe, but he was very useful to them, and they didn't give him any help when, Bernie Moreno and them were pouring in all this. I mean, the DNC, despite all that money they were raising for the Harris campaign and the DNC, I think they were wasting it. I mean, they didn't get a damn thing for their dollars,
yeah. But they,
except beat.
well, I mean, they needed to be out there speaking to the
Yeah.
to the very people. They needed to speak to the people who wouldn't vote for them, and they didn't do that. They were talking only. They were speaking to the crowd. You
Yeah,
know,
and I know people don't like some of it, and I can hear some of the arguments, but I'm just saying, if they come to this part of the country with certain people, and people ask about certain issues, if they're not willing to adapt a little bit on their stance with certain things, they're not going to find a way back to power in the next, decade or something like that. I mean, there are certain things they fight that are just not worth it because it cost them a lot more than I think they realize. I mean, the nonsense part of whether some of it is actually true or not, I mean, I get, but I'm just saying if some Democrat comes to Ohio and people say, Mr. Democratic President, do you think a person should have to show an ID to vote? And they start, well, it's hard to get an ID and a lot of poor people. No, the answer is just yes. Just fucking say yes and move on. I mean, if you start saying anything else, people here are just going to be like, you know what? If you try to educate, well, actually, only 9 illegal people voted in the last election, and that was not that
but you know what?
big a
You
deal.
know what it was.
Just stop.
You
Just
know
say yes.
when I think about it, one of the main problems that the Democrats had in the last election was that they never dealt with the issues that were important to those people. What
Right.
happened is they would throw a stick and we go chasing it,
Yes.
and
Yes.
it wasn't the stick that the average American in, as I say,
Right.
buttfuck Alabama
Yeah.
was important to them.
I know. I'm just saying, if
All those people wanted to know
yeah.
is that you were responding to them, and that's exactly what Trump did. He
Yes,
lied
well, I
to
mean,
them. He lied to them 100%.
right. Walk up and down my neighborhood and knock on every single door and ask the question, when you go to vote, should you have to show a government issued photo ID? And every single person in this neighborhood is going to answer yes. But a Democratic candidate will come here, and if you ask them the question, they will, well, I don't know, man. It's a photo ID. A lot of people live way out there, and they got no. I'm sorry, it's not voter suppression. It's just if that's what want the law to be here, just say yes. It's not worth the argument. As soon as you start moving off of things like that, you're gonna get ignored by people here, and you're not gonna be able.
I may be wrong, and maybe I'm not remembering correctly, but whenever I've tried to vote here in New York, been asked to show some form of identification,
Yes.
Yeah.
well,
and that's here in New York.
the Help America Vote Act actually does have a provision that first-time voters need to show some form of identification.
for registration. Yeah.
Yeah, well, when they show up at polls, they
I
have
mean,
to show. But after that first time, they
But
don't
when
have to.
but when I show up at the polls, how do they know that I'm Bennett Schwarzman? You know,
That's the question that I
It's not
spend
fair.
half of my day at the polling place answering those questions.
mm-hmm.
There's people that come in and automatically put it in your face.
Yeah,
And you just say, okay, and you look at it, get their address, and say, thank you.
yeah.
And it makes them happy, and you're not violating anything, and you're not adding anything.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's what I've found at the polling place is that there's always someone, oh, don't you want my ID? No, we don't need it, but you know, and then they'll pull it out and shove it in your face anyway. Okay,
Yeah.
fine.
Same happened when I used to work the polls.
And
Yeah,
they have
now I can spell
relatively
your name.
Pull it out and shove it in your face. That's what she said.
yeah.
Well, I wish it was
I
that
mean,
though.
and they have relatively, liberal, sort of elastic type laws for that kind of thing in California. I know, for example, but like there was a big fight over this in Ohio. There was a big fight over it in Wisconsin. The people here in these states simply say, we think you should have to pull out your driver's license or your state issued photo ID if you don't have a license. And if you don't have that, you can't vote.
But you know
And
what? You know
that's what the people want here.
that's
But Democrats opposed it for ridiculous reasons that I still can't understand. And I'm telling you, that stuff kills them, and they just can't seem to get it in their head that it's killing them.
It's not an important issue.
No,
There are important
to me.
issues, and there are issues that are important to. Again, we're going to buttfuck Alabama because I believe it truly exists. But those people down there, they want to hear some very realistic ideas about how you're going to get them a job, how you're going to lower taxes, how you're going to get the price of eggs down, and then when you get into office, do it. You know,
But that's what I'm saying. They have to
for their
play.
taxes.
They
Yeah,
have
or
to
it's-
play
yeah.
the game the way it should be done. I mean, that's what I'm saying. They go around here, Republicans, and they will convince people, just put it out there and just say, well, if you go to the polls to vote, they'll let you use anything for your ID. They'll let you use your electric bill, for example. And these fucking illegal Mexicans, they go around and open a mailbox and they take out an electric bill and they take it to the polling station and they vote as Josh Wheeler. And because they had my electric bill, took it out of my mailbox, and all those illegals are just going to vote. I think, of course, you and I know that isn't happening. Okay, that it's all a big load of horse shit. But
Plus
they
they'd get
get
caught.
people riled up about it, so then they just say you should have to show your photo ID. And again, they made that issue so that Democrats would do that. Well, the way you beat them is just say, yeah, you know what, right? We agree. Next topic,
Well,
please.
don't allow
I mean,
those
hard about
issues
that?
to become the main issues.
Yes.
Because they're
that's what I'm
non-issues.
saying.
They're non-issues. Everybody's got an
Democrats,
opinion on it. So what?
I mean, Republicans just, put a little bait on the line and throw it out in the fucking lake, and a Democrat comes along and fucking bites it right away.
It's like fishing in a barrel.
I mean, it's like, just say yes and then say you're not. You know what? You're not going to get me on that issue. My answer to that is yes. Let's go on to the next topic. I'm for that.
Yeah, but
Vote for it tomorrow. You elect me today, I'll vote for it on the first day. That's fine.
Would you
Perfectly
agree
fine,
with
no
me
problem.
that Trump was speaking to those people?
What, the stupid people that believe it?
Yeah.
Well, absolutely. That's what I'm
Absolutely.
saying.
I mean,
yes.
he made issues out of stuff that weren't issues.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, there are people out there.
Yes.
Every time he
People
gets
eating dogs.
every time
And he's still doing it.
every time he makes a speech, okay, at some point in that speech, it's Biden's fault.
Yeah.
And we all know it wasn't Biden's fault. This is ridiculous.
Right.
You know?
I mean, instead of arguing about whether or not people were eating dogs and cats, I would just simply be like, you know what? That's some messed up shit. I mean, I don't think we should deport them. I think they should get the death penalty. Next question. Just
Yeah.
beat them at their own
Firing squad.
right. Just be like, yeah, you know what? We catch some fucking illegal eating my cat, death penalty. We're not even gonna, we'll deport the body. They can bury it in any country they want. That's fine. We'll fly over, we'll fucking throw it out of the plane, and just fucking, we're just say that is done. Next question. I mean,
You
why
know-
get in an argument about
You know
how
where all
stupid
of this
it
is coming back to bite them in the ass
Because they won't listen.
is where it's coming to bite them in the ass is the fact that they're what was the point I was going to make now? God damn it! Oh, jeez.
That they won't listen to the people. That might have been it. That they
Well-
get drawn into these debates where the Republicans clearly
Oh,
have an
where it's
understanding of
coming
where
to
the
bite the
public
Republicans,
resides.
where it's coming to bite the Republicans in their ass, is all these town halls we've been seeing on television lately, in which the people there, they're almost rioting. I saw one today. There were 1,000 people outside the hall, and they could only get 300 inside.
But they're
And-
also
and
saying
inside, wait a minute, inside somebody was yelling and screaming, and the cops took the guy and threw him out of the meeting. Well, isn't that what a town hall is all about? Is people getting up and being able to protest what they feel?
they're also saying that the Democrats are planting people in those places, so it's still the same bullshit.
Well, I'm sorry, you didn't get
They're
that
saying
kind
all
of-
the Democrats are coming to the Republican
They
meetings.
say
and
they're
bitching.
paying those people to show up. What, they paid
Yeah,
1,300
that's their
people
narrative,
to
and
show
they've
up?
done that.
Yeah.
They've been doing that for a long time. They continue to do it.
Yeah.
Antifa.
Yeah, well, the fact is these people were definitely Republicans, and they were mad. They were just very livid about the fact
We
that
would
they
hope so.
voted. They voted for a guy who said that the day he got in office, the economy would get better, that the price of eggs would go down, that the this, that the that, and he's done none of it. All he cares about is making Greenland a state.
Did you hear
You
about
know.
him? Did you? I guess you probably talked about the DOJ speech today already.
Oh, the Department of
haven't talked
Justice.
about
No,
it
we
yet.
haven't yet.
Oh,
But
that was embarrassing.
well,
that
what
was
he did
totally
is he got there to
It was
give
a rally.
speech to the Justice Department, and it turned into being a list of grievances.
That, and he just continued to campaign, and it's not a political building. Half of the people, 3/4 of the people there were invited. It wasn't the rank and file. It was invited guests.
Because they didn't want anybody.
Then he played the
booing.
YMCA at the end of the fucking thing and did his little fucking dance at the DOJ. That's you don't go there to make those kind of speeches. He bragged about 35%. The
Some-
eggs are
somebody-
35%
somebody-
cheaper today.
Somebody should. Yeah, sure they are.
That's what
somebody
he said, so it had to happen.
So somebody should whisper in his ear, "You're not running for office anymore. Now your
Ain't gonna
job.
stop
Now
him.
you're president, and your job is to make good on the things you said you were going to do."
The stuff he was talking about at that meeting was, I mean, that speech, meeting, whatever it was absolutely. I sat there and I went, "Are you kidding me?" It says Department of Justice on the fucking wall, and you got 180 kilos of fentanyl sitting beside you, and you're supposed to be talking about that shit, and here you are talking about the war in Ukraine.
By the
and
time
how
he was,
wouldn't have happened
by
with
the
me.
time he was through, half his audience was snorting the fentanyl.
Right? Probably chewing on the bags.
Yeah, yeah.
But it was embarrassing to see something like that going on there. I mean, they've only had what 3 or 4 people that ever talked in that building.
Yeah, usually a politician never goes there to give a speech.
Right.
Right.
You know,
This was all political.
I don't think I,
I mean,
don't.
this
I,
is-
I can't even think of a president who went there. Can you?
Bush did to
Did he?
designate the building,
Oh, okay.
and then they did a swearing in there, and Obama went there to talk about FISA, and I think that's about it. Of course, he wanted to be one of them, so that's the first thing on his list. You know, him and his firsts. First at the Super Bowl, first at the FIFA, first at this, first at
So
that.
he
Well,
wasn't
I'm
the
the only
first.
one that's gone there.
He wasn't the first president ever to go there. Then.
No,
No. Okay.
he was like the 4th.
Oh, gee, did he lie?
No, I'm sorry.
You know, that's amazing. A president would lie?
It's all truth. It was sad.
Yeah, I saw it.
Kept looking to see if he was going to get shot because he was out, out on a field in Pennsylvania or something. But no, he was at the Department of Justice.
No, he was in the Department of
And
Justice.
Pam Bondi, I watched a clip where they were walking them through the hallway out to the stage or whatever, and they're walking through the hallway, and she stops, and she's got that fucking face, and she stops, grabs him by the arm, and turns him around. I'm thinking, oh well, he's reflecting back on the beautiful hallway or something like that. She points up at the fucking picture of Trump over the top of the doorway, and I went, you got to be kidding me. Why? Why is it even there?
Well,
And
the
she's
good news
smiling,
is
going, look what we did for you, Donnie.
the good news is here that Elon isn't doing too well financially. I mean, comparatively, he's lost about how much now?
Over $100 billion.
Wow.
Like a good percentage of his company is cut in half.
Yep. And the fact is, and I bet he's not
Sucks for him.
I bet he's not letting anybody go either.
Right.
I mean, he is just. I think he blew it. You know, one of these days we're going to look back, and we're
You think so, huh?
one day we're going to look back on all this, and we're going to go, did you ever imagine that he'd be broke?
Mhm.
But he's doing everything he can to destroy himself and to destroy
the
his
help of
companies.
With the help of his buddy.
Yeah,
Best
I mean,
part.
Keeps the
and
casinos going.
hopefully he'll sell SpaceX off to somebody else, and the people who are there right now will run it and do a very good job of it. You know?
We hope Trump will hire that asshole who works for him.
We want
That would
to.
be nice.
What? He's working for him for free now.
Yeah.
Well, kick him out anyway.
Yeah, but they're not going to, you know. Is Trump going to kick him out, do you think, at a certain point? I mean, they asked Trump, how long is he going to be there? He says, well, I don't think he's going to be here forever because he's got a company to run. Oh, yeah? By the time he gets back there, there isn't going to be a company left. I mean,
Oh, the stockholders at Tesla are pissed off.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
I'm glad I didn't invest in it.
Mm.
No, they got to be, what is it? The stock has gone down 50% or something? Some amazing amount.
I actually saw a sticker. I was going by down the street on my bike, and I looked in, and there was I'm going by a Tesla, and a little sticker that said anti-Elon, or was it either anti-Elon or anti-Musk? I think it's an anti-Elon Tesla owner.
Oh, okay.
you gotta
so
do
I
nowadays.
think there's a lot of people that bought Teslas that want to distance themselves. The fact I know people that bought Teslas. I have a friend that bought a used one, and drove it across country. You know.
Oh, did you see that
years
Mark
ago.
Kelly, who is the senator, Mark Kelly,
Mhm.
has a Tesla, and he made a video today where he said, "I've got a Tesla and I'm selling it. I feel every time I get in the car now," he says, "I feel guilty." You know.
Well, he's another one that voted no today, and he's in Arizona, a swing state. So we need to support him.
Oh, he's a great guy. He's really
Yeah.
terrific. You know.
Yeah.
But he.
Called him a traitor for going to the Ukraine.
Yeah.
Wow.
The man spent his whole life in the army or in NASA or whatever.
Well, the guy
supporting-
has a background that you would think otherwise he would be a Republican, but he isn't. You know, but he was in the what branch of the service was he in?
The Navy?
What?
I think he
I
was
don't
in
know.
the
I think was it the Navy?
Maybe it was the
Or was
Navy.
it Air Force?
But he was also,
Force?
you know, he was an astronaut.
Enterprise Air Force.
Yeah.
And his twin brother.
Yep.
They sent both of them up there
Yeah.
so that they could then see what it would be like when they both came back and how they were. Was there any difference in the diminishing of their abilities because of being up there for such a long time? But anyway, so you know, I mean, it's just
Navy combat pilot. Navy combat.
Navy combat. Okay.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. So
was
he
the
has
pilot.
all the
Yeah.
bona fides to be a Republican, but he isn't. You know. So I'm happy. Good guy. Yes, Jeff.
You know, everybody who's on the show is a Democrat.
Yeah.
And all the people that I know who I talk to on a daily basis, and my wife talks to all the friends, they're all Democrats. And none of them pretty much said that they voted for Democrats. Who voted against them?
Well, I had somebody who once told me I was working for a guy who was a programmer, and he programmed music for radio stations. And I said, well, why don't you play this kind of music? Because all my friends love it, And he said, I'm not programming to your friends because you're going to have friends who agree with your musical tastes. And the same thing is true of politics. We're pretty much, I don't know if I can hang around somebody who's a Republican. We have one Republican friend who voted for Trump, and we like her. Okay, so we're not gonna falter for that. And she probably, even if we asked her right now, do you think he's doing a good job? She'd probably say no. Plus, she didn't vote for Trump in the last election that he was running in. So it isn't a fact that they're Republicans, but the fact is you are, for the most part, going to hang around people who share your same opinions. And so to say that, oh, look, we all agree here with the way that, we're all against Trump and we all can't stand Trump. Well, that's only because, I don't know, we haven't got a Republican here. Yeah. And when's the last time a Republican called this program? It was Phil, and he doesn't call the show anymore. So what do we have? We have nothing but a bunch of Democrats. I would love to hear from some Republicans.
Well, the one thing I heard from somebody who's older a kid that he has, is that the reason that they voted to be Republican because they don't want to have a pregnant person, and they're going to kill it.
They don't want to have a what?
Who's the wife, the girl gets pregnant, and is going to want to remove the baby.
An abortion?
Yeah, abortion.
Right.
The biggest thing that they're afraid of.
Abortion isn't a big issue. Would you agree with me, Josh, on that one? I don't think abortion's a big issue.
They make it a big issue.
They make it a big issue.
Yeah,
shouldn't
I think it is very important to certain groups of people.
Yeah.
And then much less important to all other groups. But the groups that it is very important to have done an excellent job at working their way into a particular political party and making it a major deal at election times. But I don't often hear it talked about among people when I hear having political discussions.
They care more about their pocketbook more than anything else.
Typically, it's things along those lines more so.
I think it was what's his name, the guy who ran the Clinton campaign, who said it's all about the economy, dummy.
Yeah, now you go in this part of the country and many other parts of the country out to lunch after a church service with people who start talking about politics, you will certainly hear about abortion.
Yep.
Granted,
things
were okay under Biden. They weren't great under Biden. So people get very dissatisfied and figure they'll go with the other guy, the other side next time. That's why I don't think we're going to see a two-term president anymore. And in the case of Biden, he didn't do a terrific job, but he did an okay job. All right? But no, it wasn't good enough for those people who wanted to see a really vibrant economy, and they wanted to see their stocks going crazy, and they wanted to see, the price of eggs go down precipitously, and that the price of bacon goes down, and blah, 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 blah. They all those people who wanted that went and voted for Trump, thinking they'd get a better deal, forgetting what he was like the first time. It was like
Again, they were not.
it was
They're
national
also very,
amnesia.
very uneducated. They don't. They were. It's the sheep boat. 10 people say, "Oh, I'm going to go." Oh, he does that. Okay, I'll go with you.
I'll take it a step
That's
further.
11, 12 more.
I don't think they were stupid. I think that they
They're just-
suddenly wait a minute. They suddenly got wrapped up in the news cycle and watching these news channels, which all had their own opinion, and people gravitated towards the one that had their opinion, and that was it. You know,
But
you didn't
you're
find.
also talking about social media as well, because that is a dangerous thing nowadays, and people dump all the local networks to go to social media and whatever. Of course, it's on the internet. It's right,
Yeah, yeah.
and it's worse. It's uncontrolled.
In that case, if being on the internet is right, let me just tell everybody who's listening now, did you know that Trump rapes babies?
Yeah, put it out there.
Yeah, put it out there. You know. Now,
It-
now I'm going to get a thing from YouTube saying you can't say that Trump rapes babies. Well, it's my
You can't
opinion.
say that he rapes grown women, then you'd be told the truth.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You know, but I can say anything
Just
about
ask him back. Send him a message. How much are your eggs today?
But the idea.
No doctor, no anybody is willing to say that the president has nothing to do with changing the prices of eggs. It's not their job. And you know what? The people who run and manufacture eggs don't call on the
Hey,
president.
he's never
and
going to
say
get
what
the
to
price
do.
of eggs. He says it's up today, but I don't believe that because the chickens are still sick. Okay. And not only are chickens getting it, it turns out now cats and dogs are getting it.
He said it was up.
He said,
He said it was up.
He said the price of eggs were down.
Yeah, he said that they were down 35% today during that speech.
Yeah, well, I have to go to my grocery store and
you got your out of mind.
Bullshit.
find
Don't
out that
believe
that's
that.
not true. You know.
Yeah, but I mean, at the Department of Justice,
Yeah.
swear on the Bible.
Well, you know, I mean, he learned a great lesson from Roy Cohn. You know, if you tell a lie enough times,
It's in
it
full
becomes
swing.
truth. It becomes truth. But that goes back to Hitler. Hitler talked about the great lie, that you just simply lie continually. And
That goes back to who voted, right? Those people believe that.
well, you know, I love people who say, I voted for so-and-so because he said this, but then it turned out he became president and he didn't do what said he was going to do. He said, do you know anybody running for president who's ever done what he said he was going to do? No. And what do you say after he doesn't do it? You go, oh, well, you know, they're all those politicians are that way. Well, why didn't you say that when you were voting for the guy? And using this as a reason why you were voting for him.
The second time.
Josh, you want to chime in on this deal?
People are, I mean, I don't know how to explain why I think it has something to do with, they just want to be involved with the side that has power, or is it popular, or is in charge, maybe, or whatever. I mean, they easily believe things that are, like we said, nonsensical issues that may have somewhat of a problem, but are not really, I mean, again, that's, what I was saying earlier, is, I mean, throughout that last election cycle for a few years now, they've gone around telling people all about, these colleges and things are teaching all this, like woke stuff and this DEI and this 1619 project and critical race theory and all that. Look, I've said before, I was talking to somebody earlier today, and I just said, I have a master's degree in history. I have a master's degree in military history. I have a master's graduate certificate in World War II studies, and I'm 30 credits shy of a PhD in history, and no one has ever mentioned those words to me in all of that education a single time. Ever. Not once.
Well, the only people
Not
that,
another student, not another professor. It's not an issue.
and
You know what I'm saying?
just by
But they made
yeah,
it sound like it was.
just by a show of hands, how many people here prior to Trump making a deal out of it in the last, I don't know, half a year, ever heard of DEI?
Oh, I'm sure.
I didn't hear of DEI.
I mean, I'd heard of it, right? But
Yeah,
I
I was
mean,
trained on it.
Never
I had to
heard
get
of it.
training in it every 2 years in
I mean,
California.
it,
Well,
it
you-
is out there, you know. But
Tell me, what is wrong with DEI? It just simply says that you give everybody an equal opportunity to get the job.
They
well,
turn it they turn it like they turned affirmative action.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
they use racism to say, "Whoa, we're putting unqualified people into jobs because they're black."
DEI says nothing
You
about.
know, it's sort of like it's sort of like it's based on white supremacy. Actually,
But
So, well, they're
DEI,
black. You obviously have to be you obviously are underqualified, and therefore you don't deserve the job they're giving you. You know,
but DEI at no point says that you have to hire somebody who isn't able to do the job. It just
Well, of
says
course.
that you can't discriminate based on various qualifications between qualified people.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, yeah.
well,
So
that's
what's
kind
wrong
of
with it?
that's kind of labor law type stuff. But
It is.
I mean, there were a lot of large organizations. I mean, there were a number of them where their initiatives for this. I can see how people grew disgruntled with it. Again, I'm not saying that it was actually a real thing that I think was ruining lives like they made it sound like, but I mean, I can see, you know, because in my time with my last employer, for example, my longtime employer, I mean, it became clear, I mean, absolutely clear, that on the maintenance and engineering side, for example, that I have, if I wanted to go and be a plant engineer or a regional engineer or something, I mean, let me tell you, it was over. I mean, no one ever said these words, but it was abundantly clear that that was never, ever going to happen for me because I was 15 to 20 years too old and I was not female. And I mean, within 5 years, all of those jobs that were previously held by males went to females. I mean, you
Correct.
could
I
just
saw the same
tell that
thing.
they had a guilt complex over giving an engineering job to a man. I mean, so
I
I
saw that
left
as
and
well 10
right,
years ago.
right. So that's why I left and went to what we call the operations side, you know, which is the management side where they actually make stuff. Which didn't bother me because I fucking hate maintenance anyway. But I'm just saying there was no path to promotion in that side of the industry. There were a lot more jobs in the other side. But I mean, there were signs hanging up in the plant, women in manufacturing, we support it. And I mean, they just made it, it was just in people's faces. And let me tell you, there were plenty of white men in that plant who literally weekly would talk about, hey, like, our fucking time is done, like it doesn't matter. We're not getting any more fucking jobs here, I mean, so I can see where people got uh, had that in their mind, okay, and then someone came along and started talking to them about it like it was ruining their life, and even though it wasn't, and they got worked up about it. You know what I mean? I mean, like I didn't get worked up about it. I just saw for what it was and said that I need to get a job in a different area of the company. But, I mean, sometimes I saw things that happened where I knew that, I would apply. I mean, I applied for a few of those jobs and I didn't even get an interview, which was strange. A lot of people were like, you can't even get an interview. And then I would wait 3 or 4 months and I would get in the company directory and I would look up who the person was there at the job that I applied for. And without fail, I mean, I'm 100% of the time, it was a white girl in her mid to late 20s. Every fucking time.
Well, I mean, I could tell you stories about me and ageism. You know,
Yeah,
I
right.
mean, I went to one station and did a fill in there, so they might think about hiring me. And what was a friend of mine told my friend Walter Sabo? They told him, "Boy, he's a real pro."
Mm,
Well, that didn't say anything to me except, "Hey, I guess I'm old," because I'm a real
Hmm.
pro.
But so I don't want people to think that I saw that as like I was worried about it or worked up or whatever. That it didn't really, like I said, bug me. I'm just saying I saw enough. I did actually hear people talk about it and notice things. Like I talked to other people who just thought that it was obvious the direction that the company was going with that
Mm-hmm.
those initiatives. If you think they were wrong, I mean, I get it. I mean, I'm not saying either way, I guess, but I guess I'm just saying I understand how people felt a little bit or thought, and then he worked on those emotions. I mean, which is really what a politician should do and is good at.
Mm-hmm.
But if I mean to get elected anyway, I'm not saying that's the right thing to do, but if that's how they get elected, but so I get it, but they took a lot of issues like that. I mean, like I said, in all the education that I've had, I didn't tell you I've had it to impress you. I mean, like who cares what I have or don't have? I'm just saying I went through all of that work for all this time, and I never once in a classroom setting, on campus, online, anywhere, ever heard anyone say the words critical race theory, 1619 project, you know, DEI. I mean, I never, ever, it never happened. Not even another student. We didn't even talk about it like conversationally. I mean, so they found one university probably somewhere that's probably a private university or maybe it was public, who cares? They probably found one university where one or two people in there were pushing some agenda, and then Fox goes on TV and talks about it every day, and they get people convinced that it's every university in the entire country that's doing it. And it's
Yeah.
not.
Yeah. Well, we haven't had
So,
time to get into the big story of the day here in New York City. There's still more activity happening where this Palestinian is concerned, who
Oh,
has a
yeah.
green card, has every right to be in this country. He just happens to agree with Hamas. You know,
No, he's
No, that's
Palestinian.
not
He's
true.
not Hamas.
It's
Jesus, why do people do
Palestine.
Yeah,
well,
Palestine, not Hamas.
okay,
pro-Palestinian.
Palestine. Excuse me,
Yeah,
but I think he
yeah,
also
that? That's
he.
like saying all
Well, wait a
Americans are
minute. Wait.
KKK.
Don't yell and scream,
yeah,
please. You're
I'm
getting.
sorry, but that's frustrating.
Well,
yeah.
no, but
I
the
know.
point is that I think that he at one point was saying things pro Hamas, but that doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. I mean, Hamas should not be one of those words we say to suddenly change people's opinions. But this guy, I mean, man, did he get screwed?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just horrible. And it doesn't seem like the government's doing anything about it. They're just simply justifying it, again, using the Hamas part of it as something. But it's part of that demonstration that went out at Columbia. Some of the people were pro-Hamas, whatever. I don't care if they're pro-Hamas. It's an educational institution where we should be telling people that we agree that people should have have freedom of speech. And that I don't care what you think, it doesn't matter. All speech is accepted here in this university. And that's where Columbia went all wrong. And now they're kowtowing to the government because the government wants to take away what? How many millions of dollars in funding or something?
And he signed an executive order that we have free speech. We have the freedom to speak. And then they turn around and arrest
Yeah.
people.
Yeah. But I really feel sorry for this guy. He's got a wife, is about to give birth to a child, and he has the right to be in this country. He's got a green card. He doesn't just have a student visa. He's got a green card. And what does that say to
Not
everybody
gold.
else who has a green card?
Right.
Anyway, the theme is running. Thank you, Charlie. I didn't want you to have a heart attack there. you know.
Kept me awake anyway.
Yeah, yeah. It does keep you awake. Thanks, Josh. I appreciate it. Thanks to the a wonderful guy by the name of Tom Yamaguchi, who's been a fan of mine forever, which shows how little taste he has. Jeffrey Stein, thank you. And thank you also to Kevin, all of you. Why don't you give a big wave goodbye, and I'll give a big wave goodbye at you. Okay, there they go, folks. There's our citizen panel for tonight. There'll be another one getting together here in just a moment as Amy Manuel takes over the podium, and you can call her on Skype, as long as there's still a Skype. On Skype at what is it? It's Gabnet Live. Okay, and in the meantime, I'll see you again on Monday right here, going out over Facebook when we do the pop-up show, and then we'll see you again next Wednesday, same time, same station. In life, in the meantime, as we always like to say, if you see her, tell her I love her. Okay. Bye-bye, everybody.